Meet the Be Quiet Dark Mount Keyboard. Special thanks to Be Quiet for sponsoring today's video. As always, any opinion expressed is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Take a look at the retail box and packaging, walking you through key tech specs and features on the back side so you can get to know this keyboard better, and you can learn a little bit more about Be Quiet, the brand, as well. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our user guide and manual, very detailed and thorough, going through each individual part and component, as well as how to use those parts and components, like the switch and keycap puller, how to install the multimedia dock, as well as how to install the number pad. They go over controls, hotkeys, warranty information. This does come with a 2-year warranty. Next, you'll find our 2 attachments right here. We have the multimedia dock with Be Quiet's logo and branding. It connects via USB Type-C. This is very, very cool. We also have the number pad attachment right here. So take a look at that. 8 buttons up at the top. A little cover here to remove. So on both sides, we can adjust the USB Type-C depending on where we want to install this on our keyboard. And you could change that as frequently as you want. There's a look at the back side. That's how we adjust the USB-C port out on either side to install it here or right there on the keyboard. Very nice. Keycap and switch puller right here. USB Type-C to Type-A braided cable. We have 8 magnetic feet to adjust the height of the keyboard and number pad. So that's how you're going to make those adjustments. We have our matching palm or wrist rest right here for both the number pad and the keyboard. And they snap in magnetically, which is sweet. Love, love, love that. And again, that one's removable for either side, depending on where you have that installed, or if you even have it installed at all. And then last but not least, the keyboard itself. Take a look at it right here. We'll see it from all different sides and angles. So again, cover pops off, USB-C port right there. USB-C port up here. Cover pops off, other side, USB-C port. You get the idea there. On the back side, additional Be Quiet information. Got the dark mount branding right there. Pretty sweet. Just for fun, let me show you how you adjust the height here. Again, everything's just magnetic, so they snap right on, and we can make our adjustments here. We have enough to adjust the height of both of these. 2 squares, whatever you want to call it. So that would be the max if you wanted to use those together. If for some reason you wanted it taller, well then you could forego 2 of those on either one of these, and we could max out at 4 squares for the keyboard right there. Take a look at that. That's pretty sweet. So really clever way to adjust the height of your keyboard given the modular layout of this particular design. Speaking of modular design, let me show you how you get this installed. So for example, let's configure our keyboard this way. We're going to take this cover, pops right off, and then we have this button on the back. We just press it and out pops some magnets and a USB Type-C female port there. On this side of the main keyboard, same thing, this just pops right off, and we have a USB Type-C male side right there. So let's just take that, we'll line it up, gently press in place, and by press in place, really, there's not much you do there. And look at that. Now we have it configured with our number pad on the right-hand side, but say we don't actually want it on that side, we want it on the other side. Well, we could just pop that cover off, push it out on the other side, and same thing right here on the keyboard. We can take it, line it up the other way, and press it right in. So look at that. How cool is that? Let me show you that from the other side. But just line up, press in place, and now we have it off to the left side of our keyboard for use. And if you're wondering at home, hey David, are these little covers universal? Can they work on both? The answer is yes. So as long as you have the correct side, they're mix and match in this. You don't have to keep track of the covers in that regard, which is a nice touch. But wait, there's more. At the top of the keyboard, you'll notice multiple USB Type-C ports. So the main one down here, that's going to be to connect your cable to connect this to your computer. But on the right side and left side, we have 2 additional USB Type-C ports where we can attach our multimedia dock. So we have our USB Type-C cable here, and then we have like two guides, two plastic guides on the side. So this just lines up and goes right in just like so. And now we have added our multimedia dock to the left side of our keyboard. Maybe you want it on the other side. No big deal. Same thing right here. Just line it up and it presses right in. That is so cool. Look at that. And now you're looking at it fully configured right here with both of our added accessories. That's pretty sweet. Just for fun, I went ahead and removed a keycap and a switch so we could see both of these up close. Starting with the keycap, here's a look at the PBT double shot keycap from Be Quiet right here. Seeing it from all different sides and angles up close. And here's your close-up of the genuine cherry chopped and lubed switch. Also seeing this from all sides and angles. And this follows the 5-pin Cherry MX form factor if for some reason you want to swap out switches. And for those wondering, this does have an adjustable polling rate up to 1000 Hertz. Everything's plugged in and connected to our PC. So far, so good. Before we dive into the software and the customization and controls, let's go over the multimedia dock because we have some control options right there without having to use any additional software. So we got the Be Quiet logo and branding on screen. We can press the center button and then we have multiple settings: clock, illumination, brightness, profile, media, and custom. So we can select clock, and we have a stopwatch, we have our date and time, and then we have a timer. Double tap takes us back. Illumination settings, this is pretty cool. We actually have our different lighting effects right here that we can cycle between a couple of quick scenes. Back to static. Then we have our brightness. So we can adjust our brightness level right here by tens. All the way up back to 100 for the keyboard. Then we have our profile settings. Followed by our media settings. Song name and artist will display there, which is cool. And then we have our custom setting here. So currently custom mode is off. Really nice display though. Simple controls with illuminated buttons. We have our scroll wheel, whatever you want to call it, off to the side, plus and minus. Then we have our volume mute, play, pause, previous, and next. So our multimedia functionality right there. And a simple layout with 6 additional settings right there on our keyboard. And for those wondering, watch what happens here in real time as we disconnect it, and then we'll line it back up and press it back into place. And near instantaneous power back on, and we're all set and ready to go right there. So pretty cool that we can use that and take that off in use and switch it, and very quickly it boots back up. So the software for this keyboard can be found on Be Quiet's website. It's called IO Center. It's made for Windows and you can download it here. There's also an option to use it via the web. Pretty neat. So you have 2 different options depending on how you want to use the software. What we're going to be looking at is the Windows version that I downloaded from right here. And here's a look at that downloaded software. So towards the left-hand side, we have multiple settings we can look at. Let's start with the product settings. At this step, I highly recommend checking for any firmware updates and updating accordingly. Then down here we have our game mode options, so they walk you through what this enables, but basically you can disable certain key combinations to avoid accidentally minimizing during the heat of gameplay. There's also a factory reset down at the bottom and a quick start guide for reference. So that's our product settings there. Moving right along, we have our media dock options where we can change the colors, the presets. So you have all of that right there that you can learn more about and adjust as you see aesthetically pleasing. There's also this idle graphic option, so you can show an idle graphic after how many seconds. In this case, it's set to 30 seconds. And it can be an image, and you can actually upload your own if you want, put your own custom logo, things along those lines. So pretty sweet, and you can learn more about the specs for the image right there. But 320 by 240 is going to be the resolution that you want. There's also a clock option instead, and 12 or 24 hour options. And then you can turn the screen off after how many seconds. You can change and edit all that right there. So that's your media dock, multimedia settings. Pretty sweet. And then you can click on these buttons And you might see this little pop-up that says, this button can be remapped only at the key binding tab. Double click to go to the key binding tab. So you could double click those if you want to rebind or change anything there. So we just double clicked and that took us to the key binding tab. But it's also right above the media dock icon on the left side. So there's the key binding. Then we can choose our key, the function that we want. So there's a lot of options here. And then the action. So pretty sweet, simple and straightforward. And then we can just select a key in case we want to, let's just do W, right? So default, standard, media, so many options there that you could tweak that till your heart's content. We also have these tabs at the top if we don't just want to remap. We have our function layer, so we can set our function keys, same thing. Pick and choose what you want right there. And then our final tab is our macros option. So our record devices, do you want just the keyboard, just a mouse, or the mouse and keyboard? What sort of delay do you want? So no delay or custom. Pick and choose. Then you have your start recording button as well as your playback mode. Do you want it to activate just one time when you press it, or as long as you're holding the key down, or repeat, so you press it and then it repeats until you press again? You have multiple playback options. And then what do you want it assigned to? You can go here, you can select that, and you can work on your remapping settings right there as well. So that's a quick look. Remap, function layers, and macros, very easy to customize as you see fit. And it's important to note that we can remap the 8 buttons on the number pad as well. So really quickly, I'll click through the defaults right here. So open URL, then you'll see Windows shortcut. Let's go into browser, then we have File Explorer, then we have Mail, then we have Snipping Tool, then we have Task Manager, then we have Lock PC, and we also have Sleep PC. But you can build this out to whatever you want. If you want a shortcut to your favorite application, things along those lines, keep it as it is, or again, customize it till your heart's content. So there's a lot of options that we can really customize and configure within the remapping section to bind keys and get things exactly how we want it, whether it's the keyboard itself or it's our number pad with our 8 buttons up at the top. And then last but not least in the software, we have our illumination section. This is where we can tweak our RGB colors and lighting. So let's take a closer look at that. So we'll just start at the top, and you'll notice we have a little toggle on and off here. So we can actually turn off all the LED lights on the keyboard or turn them back on. Then we have general and custom section. So in the custom section, we can build out our own lighting effects. And you can see those effects down at the bottom. Or we can go to general where we can see our effects here. And we'll just spend a couple seconds in each one. So that's the color wave. That looks great. Tornado. Love the full RGB. Then we have our breathing. It's going to pulsate between the different colors. Then we have reactive. So watch as I type there. That's cool. I like that one. And then matrix. It's very, very satisfying to watch. And then for each of those down at the bottom, dual color, or do you want a gradient? So you have those settings there. And again, you can change the color. You can choose different presets. Those are neat. Different direction options right here. Adjust the brightness and the speed. So 100 down to 10 or somewhere in between. And then do you want it slower? I like the slow down. Or do you want it faster? Or find that happy middle ground again. But very fun, depending on the effect that you pick, that you can change these. So I like that. I like the breathing slower versus the quicker change. But again, increments of 10, you can make those adjustments right there. And depending on which effect, single, dual, gradient, change colors, choose presets. Let me select change for a minute. You can even enter your own value if you have your own hex or RGB values right there for maybe your own logo and branding, right? Or maybe to match a PC build, whatever it may be, you can enter those values or just choose from the sliders here. Very sleek though. I'll go back to color wave. The dual looks cool with Be Quiet's branding on there. Or we can hit that gradient. Really nice, bright RGB. Looks really good in person. Let me remove the magnetic pad too. So you get a close-up. They even have the strip on the sides. So it looks so good. Looks so good. I love that's on the sides. And it's all the sides. Just try not to unplug it here. But you have that beautiful RGB color here. Nice, soft, diffuse light. That looks great. Oh, you know we're going to break this keyboard in. Let's have some fun doing a little typing test here and see how we do. As I always say, it's so strange to like, I don't know, look up at my monitor and do this, but it's pretty fun. Oh, man. Oh, that was special. Should I go back? All right, we're going back. Oh, no. Oops. I feel like I'm back in grade school. Oh, man. Oh, let's see how we did. Oh, oh no. All right, let's see our results. Whew. Yikes. 40 words per minute. Yeah, that was special. Hey, technically, we're above average. Anyways, the whole point with that is that this keyboard isn't going to make you a better gamer or a better typist, but it's going to give you the tools so you can't blame anybody but yourself, because at that point, it's not going to be the keyboard's fault. So, anyways, it's kind of like a golfer buying the best of the best golf clubs, or a gamer buying the best of the best PC and then still not being able to get that W. It's not on the equipment at that point. Just for fun, I grabbed a Cooler Master tactile gaming keyboard here and just wanted to show you a comparison between the linear switches on our Be Quiet keyboard and some brown tactile switches from our Cooler Master keyboard. I'll just type between both keyboards and you can listen in. Anyways, pretty cool just to see some of those differences there and get a better feel for how quiet this keyboard is, and for you to decide if it lives up to that Be Quiet name. So where's that leave us in regards to our Be Quiet dark mount keyboard? Let me share with you my final thoughts. Here's what you need to know. First, technically this keyboard has 9 screens. Yeah, you heard me right. We got the large display here and then 8 additional screens on the number pad. So you're paying a premium for this keyboard, but you're getting that modular design. So that may be a drawback to some, but you're paying that price tag to get access to the simplicity of being able to move your number pad from left to right side, or not even having it on altogether in certain instances. And same with your multimedia controls, being able to remove that or put it on the left or right side. So you're paying a premium for those features, but they work really nicely and it's really smooth. Also, great software setup from Be Quiet. They did a great job with the I/O control, no bugs or issues or anything like that to report back to you guys. And they even give you a web version as well if you don't want to download any software onto your machine. Smooth, quiet, nice typing experience. Now, a couple things I'd like to see in the future. Maybe a USB pass-through option. That would be pretty cool. Maybe a couple USB ports or things along those lines that we could utilize this even further. And then maybe continuing to release more updates and accessories. I mean, now we have that second USB port right there, and technically one on the other side. How about a couple more accessories in the future to really build this out? Maybe you want to add a couple more keys here, you know, that sort of thing. That'd be pretty sweet to incorporate more of that into the future. But so far, so good with this keyboard. Nice, bright RGB colors, great aesthetic there with the aluminum finish up at the top, and then the RGB diffusing the light all around the border. And each individual key is individually controlled too from that RGB perspective. So really well thought out, nice solid design. It's expensive, but you're paying that premium for the modular design. And for those of you that have made it this far into the video, I got a quick side-by-side here of the dark mount and the light mount keyboard just to show you some of the differences. So they both have a magnetic wrist rest. They're a little bit differently though, because this one's designed in two pieces since the number pad can be installed on either side. And speaking of that, we have our modular multimedia control too that can move in two positions. You'll notice that the RGB is a little bit different too. We have a light strip up here on the light mount, whereas on the dark mount, it's all around the side of that keyboard. So a couple differences there. We have 5 macros on the light mount with our multimedia knob in the top left-hand corner. We don't have any of that here. Again, we have dedicated multimedia controls, and we have 8 macros with 8 screens up here at the top instead. So that's another little difference right there. So similar to each other, yet different. And then lastly, design-wise, we have a kickstand here with adjustable height options for the light mount. So multiple height settings there that we can toggle up to, depending on what you prefer. Whereas on the dark mount, it's these magnetic squares that can stack on each other to adjust the height that way. So another difference between both keyboards.